Hey, what's up? It's Tati back with another review. This time, Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. Now, before I get into the pay-per-view, I do want to say that I did say recently that I was going to wait until this pay-per-view to make up my mind on if I wanted to continue to review Ring of Honor on a weekly basis, and I have made up my mind. The answer is yes. I'm going to continue to still review Ring of Honor. I really do enjoy the promotion. I enjoy a lot of things about it, and it's wrestling. That's like my soft spot. Like, I have to watch wrestling. The only thing I just don't like is that Tony Khan is making amateur mistakes that I wish he can just fix. It's going to take some time, but I still think that in the long run, for me, I can't speak for other people, but I think I would still want to watch anyway. And there's a lot of you that like to hear me review the show, so I appreciate anyone who check out my Ring of Honor reviews. Now let's get into the review of this pay-per-view. First thing I noticed was during the pre-show was that Nigel was not on commentary again. So it's been a few weeks since we haven't heard Nigel. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's really cool with Caprice and Ian on commentary. They're actually my favorite commentary team with wrestling currently. Another thing was it was really great camera work throughout the show. We really got to see all these matches from different angles, so that made things much more interesting. And also, the same stage setup that they had for Supercard of Honor earlier this year is the same stage that they used again. The steps from the entrance was this close to the ring, and I really feel like that was part of the reason why what's his name, Dante, got injured from hitting his foot on the steps, and he ultimately broke his ankle and whatnot. It's just too damn close. Anyway, we started off with Gravity versus Commander, and it was definitely giving me WCW Cruiserweight Division vibes. I really like how consistently they're opening up with these Lucha Libre style matches for the pay-per-views, or even on their weekly shows. They also would do that with AEW and ROH with the Lucha Libre style wrestlers. So I enjoyed that. So that really amped up the crowd. They got really hyped up for the show. So I really enjoyed that. Now, I kept thinking, like, Gravity is somebody's brother, but I could not remember. And it's Bandito's brother. For whatever reason, I forgot about him. Bandito is out. He did break his wrist. He did have surgery, I think, last week. So it's going to be a while before we see him back in the ring. Either way, these two guys have a really great match. We didn't see Alex Abrahantes going crazy like he normally does with the Lucha Brothers. He was a little bit more tame ringside, so no distractions or anything. I was surprised that Gravity ended up taking the win with an inside cradle. Even Commander was so surprised, like, what the fuck? I didn't see that coming. Honestly, I thought Commander was going to take the win. Now, Gravity has had one match in ROH that he did win, but I did think it was going to go to Commander because Commander has had not necessarily a winning streak, but he has a really great track record. So I thought he was going to take the win. Either way, this was a really great way to start off the show. Up next, we have the TV title on the line, Dalton Castle versus Samoa Joe. I hope everyone prayed for Dalton. He definitely needed it. Now, it did take a minute or two for the match to get started. We have Joe who's just walking around basically like, I cannot believe I am doing a match with Dalton Castle on a Friday night when I could be doing something else. And Dalton Castle, he's playing around with the boys and playing around with the audience and everything. So the bell had already rung, and I'm just like, let's get this started already. Now, I did enjoy this match. Joe is an absolute beast. He is so dominating. He is like, he comes off so cocky and overconfident. And to be honest, when it came to his opponent being Dalton, I really do think that it was rightfully so. I would have loved to see Shane Taylor with Samoa Joe. Maybe Joe wouldn't have been as confident to be in the ring with someone who is, I believe he's bigger than Joe. Either way, we do have a really great match with these two. Joe did dominate the match for the most part, but we did have a little part where Dalton took a little bit of control. And what we have is the boys, they're ringside. They're helping Dalton. but not helping him cheat. So let's say Samoa Joe will throw him out the ring, the boys will catch him. So no matter what happens, the boys are always right there to make sure that Dalton doesn't get hurt outside the ring, but they don't help with necessarily getting their hands on Joe, probably because they know better. Now, it got to the point where Joe was really, really upset because the boys kept helping Dalton. And it's like, well, if I keep throwing his ass out the ring and he's not hitting the pavement, well, how is that going to help me win? So it got to the point where Joe, he gets mad and he goes to Stokely Hathaway, who is sitting with the commentator team, and he tells him, you better fix this because I'm tired of the boys getting involved in this match. So Stokely is scared as shit of Joe, so he decides to tell the ref that the boys gotta get the hell out of here. And once the referee called for the boys to leave, the whole place was booing. Like, they were just booing the hell out of Stokely. And Joe was so happy about it. He ended up snatching up Dalton from the back and putting him in a coquina clutch and took the win. I really did enjoy this. This was really fun, but I really love how overly confident Samoa Joe is. It's going to take somebody who is absolutely more dominating than Joe to take the TV title away from him. I really enjoyed this match. Up next, we have the ROH tag titles on the line. Best Friends versus The Kingdom versus Aussie Open versus the Lucha Brothers. Now, I ain't gonna lie, very early on in the match, we do have Aussie Open and the Lucha Brothers in the ring, and they're going on for a few minutes, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't see the other teams right now. They were doing so great. They had really great chemistry together. So I'm really hoping we got to see these two teams lock up in the future. We got a little bit of a tease of that with this match. Now, this was a really great match. The energy was really, really high. And like I always say, when we get matches like this where we have at least 8 men in the ring, sometimes things get sloppy because everybody's on high adrenaline. So we did have a couple of points in this match where everybody was just doing a little bit too much at the same time. And it was slightly hard to keep up with. Now, I'll say this. There were some times where it was like people getting in the ring and there was no tag made. And I don't think that the ref was even able to keep up with things. But either way, I still enjoyed what everyone did in this match. I think we saw the less of the Best Friends here, a little bit more of the Kingdom and Aussie Open. Lucha Brothers at times seem to be like they're there but not there type of thing. I don't know what was going on with that. There was a time where Penta was in a ring just laying there for like a good 5 minutes watching everybody else in the match, and I was just like, what is going on here? But it was still okay. Now, towards the end of this match, we do have Matt Taven and Trent Beretta in the ring. Trent goes and pins Matt, and here comes the Lucha Brothers. They both grab one of the ref legs and pulls him out because they were so desperate at that point. And I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming from the Lucha Brothers. Was that a heel move? Not really, but it's just the Lucha Brothers. We just did not expect that from them. And from there, we had a lot of fighting outside the ring. Now, back into the ring, we have Trent in the ring with Aussie Open, and Aussie Open end up taking the win. And Trent, he was leaking on the side of his eye. I don't know what's going on with that, but he looked really upset taking the loss for the team. Obviously, the Lucha Brothers, they've been tag champs in Supercard of Honor. They haven't done a damn thing with that title, only defending it one time on Dynamite. So I was happy to see someone else get it. However, I really wish it was going to be the Kingdom to end up getting these titles because they've been working so hard with ROH since the very first episode. They've probably been on the most matches as a team, more than anyone else on this show. And it's just like, damn, they really worked hard and they just missed it. Part of me feels like Aussie Open was going to end up getting these titles anyway, because remember, before Mark was injured, they were collecting belts, and they already had 2 sets of tag titles, the IWGP and the New Japan titles. So I wasn't surprised if they would have ended up getting the ROH titles or maybe even AEW titles. So I think that this was already in the works for Aussie Open. Obviously had to wait till Mark got better, but congrats to Aussie Open. This was a really great match, just sloppy at times. I'd love to see what they're going to do with the tag division now. Up next, we have the 6-man tag championships on the line. Mogul Embassy versus Leon Griffin, Master Watu, and Taguchi. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't interested in this match. But it turned out to be really, really good. But I'll tell you what the main issue with this. Now, the crowd did get behind this. We did start off the match with Leon pretty much being in the match for the absolute longest, getting decimated by the Mogul Embassy. And it took quite some time before we got a tag with, I think Taguchi was the first one to come in because he was itching to get in that ring. Now, here's the issue. This match was really, really great. Everyone did a great job here. And this was a match that I was kind of like, well, maybe I'll stop and just do something, not really pay attention too much. But it turned out to be great, and I'm glad that I didn't get distracted doing other things here. The issue here was that there's no storyline. There's nothing into this for people to be emotionally invested into it. Yes, the crowd was into the action, but on an emotional level, no one's really going to care whether or not if the embassy retains or whatever. And it has nothing to do with them being heels. It's just because there's no story here. So that took away some points from the match, but they did deliver some really good stuff here, and I really enjoyed this. Obviously, Mogul Embassy ends up retaining, but there was something interesting. We do have Big Bill backstage. He's watching the match, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Yes, we see Big Bill and Brian tagging, and I really like their chemistry together. So I'm wondering, why is he there watching from the back? It's a little random, but hopefully there's a payoff here. Maybe he wants to continue tagging with Brian. Maybe he wants to be part of the Mogul Embassy. So we'll see what happens with that. Up next, we have the Pure title on the line. Katsuyori Shibata versus Daniel Garcia. And I already knew I was going to like this match. I really love Pure World matches. It's much more technical than other matches. So I already knew that they was going to deliver here, and they absolutely did. They have really great chemistry. And in this match, Shibata is being a total badass as always. But you can tell that Daniel Garcia has been doing his homework when it comes to Shibata. Now, while Daniel Garcia is a tremendous wrestler, you know, he does his silly shit in the ring or whatever with the dancing or whatever. He was doing that in the ring. He even was dancing around in a circle around Shibata, and I was just like, well, what the hell is this? And Shibata is just like, I'm gonna let you do what you're gonna do, and I'm still gonna win this match. Now, I love Shibata. He's like no nonsense type of dude, and the crowd was absolutely really feeling this match. The thing here is that Shibata, he's not fazed by Daniel Garcia at all. Matter of fact, he's not fazed by anybody he's in the ring with. And I do think that Daniel should have taken notice of that and probably should have been a little bit more serious in this match if he really thought he was going to go for a win here. Now, towards like after 10 minutes, it started to get a little bit more serious between the two. Now, Daniel Garcia stopped with the dancing and went on I'm a wrestler mode for a little bit. And then we have Shibata that puts him in a sleeper. So they're standing and he puts him in a sleeper. And while he's fading, he starts doing that stupid dance. And Shibata's like, bitch, I am not going to let go. And he tightened up that sleeper. Then we have Daniel Garcia who falls onto the ground. And Shibata goes for a PK and takes the win. This was a really great match. If you haven't seen it, go and check this out. I really like the fact that, you know, Daniel knows when to get serious, but, you know, he does his goofy stuff at the same time. But at some point, I do think he's going to have to get serious a little bit more if you really want to get some titles around that ways. I really enjoyed this match. They always deliver. Now, after the match, Shibata wants to shake his hand. Daniel Garcia is like, no, bitch, I'm not shaking your hand. And he sticks the middle finger at him. And Shibata makes him do the right thing and shakes his hand. Great match. Loved it. So up next, before we have our next match, they're announcing that this is a double main event show, and they let us know that Athena versus Willow will be the main event of the show. And I'm just like, what? To be honest, at this point, I was thinking that the best thing would be for Pac versus Claudio, simply because we've already seen Athena and Willow in the ring very recently twice. So I just felt like people would rather see something that they haven't seen before. So at the time, I felt like this was the wrong call, and it kind of put my mood down a little bit. Now, up next, we have the Righteous and Stu Grayson versus the Dark Order. And for this right here, it was the fight without dishonor match. So pretty much anything goes in this match. And honestly, if they ended up having just a standard 6-man tag match, it would have not lived up to this. I love the fact that they had this type of match because it made things much more grittier, and it brought a darker side to everyone here in this match, and it was absolutely amazing. Right off the bat, we had 2x4s, we had chairs and tables, thumbtacks, we had 2x4s wrapped around with barbed wires and everything, and it was just so interesting. And within the first minute, we already had our first table crash, so that was great. However, I have to say this, like, when it comes to the Dark Order, I kind of don't take them seriously because I feel like they've been around for so long but haven't had all the opportunities in the world to make a really huge name for themselves. Yes, they're a crowd favorite, but they need gold and huge matches to back that up, and they haven't had those opportunities or whatever. But either way, I felt like this was the best thing for them to do, is to have this type of match. Now, we do have Evil Uno. Early on in the match, he gets his mask ripped. Now, you can see like a little portion of his face, but not the whole thing. And they busted his head open, so now he's bleeding. And I'm okay with that. Now, the Righteous was taking a lot of control early on in the match, but things got a little more dark. So like I said, they had all types of weapons in this match, but the most dangerous weapon of all was brought into the ring by Evil Uno. He had a bag, and he dumped that bag, and it was a bag full of Legos. And let me tell you this, you might be laughing, but I'm a mom, and I'll tell you what, I have stepped on Legos several times. Those bitches hurt. So them putting that in the ring in this match was absolutely insane. When he dropped the Legos onto the mat, people in the crowd was chanting, "You sick fuck." And I was like, I agree. He's sick as hell for doing that. Now, obviously the match gets more crazier. We do have a part where outside there's a table, and Johnny Hungy's laying on the table, and Vincent goes for a senton onto the table outside the ring. He hits Johnny, but the table doesn't break. So then Stu gets onto the turnbuckle and ends up hitting that senton, and it actually broke that time. We also have a part where Dutch was thrown onto a table that was wrapped around with barbed wires as well. This match is a lot of things that went on here, but I really feel like this should probably make you feel a little bit more different about the Dark Order. They really went dark in this match, and they end up taking the win after a few combinations onto Stu Grayson. They took the win, and I was really happy for them. The crowd was really behind them here. They did an awesome job. I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see how things change going on from here. I forgot to mention, but Stu was also wearing white, just like the rest of the Righteous members, which is the first time he's ever done that. So I'm guessing that's him confirming that he's part of the Righteous. I want to see where the storyline goes to. All right, y'all. So now we have the ROH title on the line. Pac versus Claudio Castagnoli. Now, within 2 minutes, Claudio hits 2 swings onto Pac, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty quick. Now, he starts off so strong, so confident, and that was a problem. That Pac can see how overly confident that Claudio was in this match, and he knew he had to take that pride down a couple of notches. So after he does those two big swings, we do have Pac, who ends up hitting Claudio from behind, and Claudio ends up hitting his knee on something that was on the stage. I don't know what it was. And from there, Claudio is limping for quite some time during this match. And surprise, surprise, Pac doesn't seem to notice this. It's almost like as if maybe that wasn't supposed to happen or whatever, but he does never capitalize on the fact that Claudio had been limping for quite some time in this ring, which was a little, I don't know, it was noticeable to me because I was like, well, if I was wrestling and I saw somebody limping, I would definitely be going after that leg, which he never actually does. Now, at different parts of this match, both guys are dominating, but it's really Claudio who is, you know, more doing damage here. Now, we do have this part of the match where we have Claudio, he grabs, I was about to say Neville, he grabs Pac and he throws him onto a table that's outside the ring. I didn't even remember this table being set up. He threw him onto that table and it just crashes into pieces. And I'm just like, oh my God, like it just happened out of the blue. And from there, Claudio could have waited for the 20 count, but instead immediately he gets out the ring and he gets Pac, bring it back into the ring. He hits a neutralizer and ref counts 1, 2, and the ref was like a millisecond away from counting to 3, and Pac, he just lifts his arm and everybody's just shocked because we thought that was it for Pac. Now from there, Pac just got energy from the gods and he is dominating Claudio. Claudio is coming off like, you know, less and less energetic at this point. So it seems like, you know what, Pac actually has a chance to take the win here. Now, strangely enough, during this match, we do have Gravity. He's backstage and he's watching the match. And then they announced that Gravity is going to be having a match with Pac on Dynamite. And at first I was like, this is random. And then I had to think about it for a minute. You guys remember that tagline from Pac, the man that gravity forgot thing. So they're playing off of that. So this is why we're going to end up seeing these two guys in the ring. And obviously Gravity is watching because if Pac were to take the win, he would be a champion and he would be able to have a title to go against Pac for the ROH title on Dynamite. Anyway, they continue to have their match here, and we do have Pac, he's dominating Claudio. Claudio just seeming a little bit more tired, so it seems like Pac might even take this win. And then out of the blue, our homie Wheeler Yuta comes out and he distracts Pac, and right from there, the referee kind of turns and he's trying to get Wheeler away from the ring. And then here comes Claudio hitting a Ricola bomb and taking the win. And I'm just like, whoa, I cannot even believe that they went this route. I honestly thought this was going to end clean. Wheeler doesn't touch Claudio. I mean, Wheeler doesn't touch Pac, but his presence being there was distracting enough. So after that, we have Claudio and Wheeler. They're attacking Pac. Then here comes the Lucha Brothers to save the day. You know, they were part of Death Triangle together and whatnot. And I was like, holy shit, you guys are still friends. That's great. And now we have Wheeler and Claudio fighting with Death Triangle. And then here comes the Best Friends. The Best Friends come out and they're attacking the Lucha Brothers. Obviously, they had a match earlier and they're upset or whatever. And then here comes Orange Cassidy. He hits an orange punch onto Pac and Claudio. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And then AR Fox is watching from backstage because he has a match with Orange Cassidy on Dynamite. It just felt a lot going on during that time. Either way, that ending was whatever, but really great match between Pac and Claudio. I'm pretty sure their feud is not over. So now on to the main event for the ROH World Women's title, Athena versus Willow Nightingale. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought this was going to be on earlier on the show. simply because we've already seen these girls in the ring twice before recently. I enjoyed the first match that they had better than the second match. So I knew that if they were going to main event the show, that they really had to do something different compared to the other two matches that we saw. And, I was kind of feeling like maybe this won't be as interesting, but they shut my mouth up and they did a really great job. Now, one thing I could tell you is that I was really emotionally invested in this. So was the crowd as well. Willow's from New York and they're in New Jersey, so pretty much she's from across the street. And a lot of people was cheering for her, way more than Athena, obviously. Also, they showed Willow's parents ringside, and I was like having a mini heart attack because I was like, holy shit. I remember when Athena won the title, her family was ringside too. And I was like, damn, when they put the family ringside, the titles might change hands. So that made me a little nervous at first. But I had to tell you, man, they really played with the audience emotion, not just those who were sitting there at the venue, but people at home. I'm pretty sure everyone was just, watching and full of intensity, like which one of these girls going to end up taking the win. I really enjoyed this. Now, I have to say there was a million pinfalls here in this match, but either way, they really delivered, and I have to say props to Willow. Even though I didn't want her to win, I really see the growth that she's had. I remember talking about her last year and how green she was, but she's really put into work and improved this year. So I'm really happy for her. But I knew Athena was going to take this win. Athena does take the win with a cross face. We do have Willow who ends up fading from that, and the bell, the ref rings the bell. Really great match. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely the best out of the three matches that they've had. It makes me feel like what's going to happen next with the ROH women's division. Like, who's going to be the one to take Athena off her high horse? And I'm really interested to see where they're going with that. It makes me think that maybe they might use somebody like Layla, Hirsch, or Diamante, somebody back there, or maybe Mercedes might come back. Who knows? I can't wait to see what they do with this. Now, I have to say one more thing before I go is that Tony Khan, the reason why he just pulls shits out of his ass last second is because he knows that once this whole thing is said and done, that all these men and women that get in that ring is going to knock it out of the park and give us an absolute amazing show. And that's what they did once again. I definitely recommend watching this. I can't say if it's worth $40 for everybody, but I am mind putting my $40 in, and I really enjoyed the show. So if you can, go check it out. It was a great few hours of wrestling. The pre-show is on YouTube. It's free. Anybody can check that out. Really great show. I loved it a lot. Guys, thanks for watching my review. I'll be back with Rampage. Bye.